Hi, welcome to How to Repair. ASKO washing machines, are they really as good as they're made out to be? A couple of weeks ago I done a controversial video on Miele washing machines and showing my disappointment that Miele, a high-end manufacturer, was putting plastic drums into their new machines. And this led to a comment coming through from a customer off the YouTube video. And he stated how happy he was with these new machines. He also informed me that they were using a stainless steel outer drum. Now, I normally don't go out and buy high-end machines because they are very expensive for me to do review videos for you because I have to use my own money. Because of the things I have to say about this industry, none of the major brands support me in any way whatsoever. So it is always my own money that I have to use to buy these machines. Now, after doing some research on this machine, I was pleasantly surprised that there is a huge promotion going on with these machines at the moment. And I managed to acquire an £1,150 machine for the bargain price of £449 plus delivery. And as you can see, I'm not hiding anything from you. I actually use my own money. Here's the invoice, including delivery. I paid £469 from a company that I'd never used before. Marks Electrical was not only very swift with regards to their delivery, and I loved the tracking system that you get when the appliance comes out, but I actually made some phone calls to the company after purchasing it, trying to find some technical information on the machine. Were the workshop manuals available from the manufacturer? They weren't able to answer that question, so I went through to Norway and actually contacted the company directly. They actually informed me that they didn't supply technical data to the general public, which was a bit of a disappointment. But in this video, I'm going to be giving you an independent review, not only what I think of the machine and how the build quality is on the machine, but we're also going to do some teardown videos as well on this machine to look at the build quality of it. It is very disappointing that manufacturers try and keep all the technical information to themselves and are not supporting people like myself to help you. But we are going to do a totally independent review on this machine. Okay, my initial thoughts. The packaging is okay, but it could be improved. They have put some protection bars in for the front of the machine. This is not the cheapest in the range, nor is it the most expensive in the range. But the packaging is adequate. Now, when you unpack these machines, I just use a Stanley, go up the polystyrene, go along the top, do the same on the other side. And this will allow me to remove all the packaging. Okay, I've unpackaged the machine and I've had a quick look through the manuals and other bits and pieces, and I've already got some pluses and some minuses. First, I have to say the feel of this machine is really heavy duty. Everything about it has that feel of quality, and I just hope inside is as good as outside. Some pitfalls I'm going to say. Firstly, the pump flap. There is no way to open this pump flap in any way unless you use a piece of plastic and insert it down the side to get it open, and even then it is difficult to open. They could have made this better for older people who sometimes have not got the capability of strong fingers to be actually able to open this. There is also a problem on the back of the machine, which we'll get to in a minute, but the whole feel about this machine so far is quality. I just love it. Now, I'll explain about the drum system. There is no door seal on these machines. They are using an old commercial type design which doesn't have a door seal. The actual water is kept in the machine by a small seal on the front of the glass. And I have had a couple of laundries in my life, and this is a good quality system. It also stops any small items of clothing or coins getting down into the drum, which can damage the machine in the long term. Also, love the Soapbox. Not only have you got powder areas, you've also got mechanical auto dosing systems where you're able to put detergent in there. There are some other features about this which we'll go into later, but the whole quality of the machine is surprisingly good. Okay, coming around the back of the machine, you only have to tap everything just to know the quality that's in this machine. Now, I have taken the back off the machine to have a sneak peek because I want to make sure I'm saying everything correctly to you, because the manufacturer was not willing to give us the workshop manuals to describe everything on this machine correctly. The auto dosing system that is on this machine is not mechanical, which I thought. It has actually got pumps to put the correct amount of detergent into the machine, and I'll explain all that later. What I don't like about the machine is this fill pipe, and this is a rigid fill pipe, and I think this could cause problems when the machine is installed, because when pushing it under the kitchen worktop there is a possibility that this could kink. I would have much preferred to see them put something like a heavy duty stainless steel braided pipe which is flexible rather than this. But I have to commend them on the fittings that they're using. They're using heavy duty brass fittings. They even have a reducer, 4 different pipe sizes, and they have a hardness water tester. This means that when we initially set up the machine, we will be able to test the water to know whether we have hard water in the area or soft water in the area, which will be to do with the programming on the machine. This whole panel comes away to give you clear access into the machine, and there are 3 transit brackets on the machine as well. And I do notice, and I had a look on the web just to check I was correct, because I noticed that the manufacturer, although there is no water valve for the hot water on this machine, on the higher end models they do have hot water fill, which means if you're using solar water on your property, you will get the calorific benefits of being able to use that hot water that is generated from the sun to actually reduce the electricity that the washing machine is using, which is another plus side in my opinion. I was going to film me actually putting this onto the workbench, but it was so heavy that I had a problem actually getting it on there without looking ridiculous. A mechanical hoist would be absolutely fantastic. I am nearly coming to 60 years of age, and this is a very heavy machine. And I'm having to use a 15mm spanner to remove these transit bolts. I would normally have a socket, but that's in my mobile workshop at the moment, so I'm having to use a ratchet spanner. Now once you've undone them, remove the bolt, give them a pinch, and the actual fitting will come away. Do that on all 3 of them, and then the machine is safe to use. Worth keeping these things safe. If you ever move, it's well worth putting them back in to make sure that you don't damage the machine. Okay, I've connected up the water, turned the water on, also put the waste. I also used their indicator strip, which it told me to dip in my water, and there's no colours on that at all. Turn the power on, turn the machine on. You can hear some clicks. Then the ASKO comes up. Inspired by Scandinavia, and we have a choice of languages, so I'm quickly going to go through these just to see what's available. UK English, American English, of A's and of R's, Australian English, Norwegian, Swedish, no idea, Danish, France, Dutch, Spanish, Italian, Netherlands, no idea, Slovakian, Czechoslovakian, Slovenian, no idea, definitely no idea, Portuguese, Polish, no idea, back to UK English. So I'm going to stick with the UK English. I'm not going to go for the Americanized, and I'm going to press OK. Next, water hardness. Well, nothing's showing on the indicator, so I'm going to finalize that. And that is basically the initial setup procedure. So what I'm going to do now is have a look in the book, and do not forget to remove transit. Oh, that is fantastic. That was telling us then on the screen that it was reminding us not to use the machine if you haven't removed the transit bolts. Now that is very clever. I am impressed with that. We've got a universal wash. I have no idea what all these buttons are until I read the manual. Okay, I'm quickly going to turn this just onto a rinse cycle so I can hear what the machine sounds like initially, and also to get rid of any residue on the machine. And I'm going to turn this to the highest spin setting, and I'm going to press start. Right, let me tell you about the machine while it's doing that. This is an A-rated machine. What I'm interested in here is to understand the noise level on the machine, and this is 76 dB. It has only got a B rating on this, but I'm willing to sacrifice the additional noise because it doesn't have a door seal. And this whole drum moves with the door, which is very different to other machines. It's based on, as I said earlier, a commercial design. Now, something to be aware of, I thought I'd bring to your attention. In the small print with all companies, they do tell you this is a 5-year guarantee, but you must register the guarantee within 90 days of purchasing the machine. You can either do this online or you can actually do it via telephone, and you will have to give them your full model number off the identification label on the machine. I thought I'd turn the camera quickly back on. This is doing the rinse, distributing in an anti-clockwise rotation, then it'll stop and do a clockwise rotation. I really don't think this is any noisier than any other machine. We'll have a listen again in a second when it goes into the actual spin cycle itself. Okay, the machine is on the last 3 minutes of this rinse cycle. It's at maximum RPM. It's just shutting down because it's finished its cycle. It was not much noisier than other machines, but it is very unfair for me to actually compare a washing machine that has a door seal and a fixed panel when that fixed panel will have insulation behind it. This door is attached to the drum, as you can see, and it is fixed to it. So the manufacturer is unable to put insulation in this area. I'm not going to kid you, it is slightly noisier, but it's perfectly acceptable in my opinion. So what I'm going to do now is use and abuse the machine for the next few days. I'm going to add this video content that I do over the next few days to this video, and I'll be talking to you about different wash functionalities that I use over the course of this period of time. And at the end of this video, we'll take the back off the machine and take the lid off to have a look at the general build quality within this machine. Okay, the first wash we're going to use is the heavy soil, and I'm going to give this machine a heavy load. I've got all the rags from the workshop. I use these for cleaning up when I'm working on the machine, and that is slightly over full. But we are testing the machine, and I know that you lot on many occasions do overload the machine, and I can tell you that from experience. Anyway, let me go quickly into the heavy load. The heavy load is for heavy soiled items. I've set it up at 60 degrees on a 1600, and it's telling me it's going to take 3 hours. It will automatically adjust the amount of water that the machine uses depending on the amount of clothing you put in the machine. It will also reduce the time if need be due to the amount of clothing. Now, I'm actually going to use powder on this occasion, and do take note, there is a flap inside the actual wash compartment, and this flap needs to be up. But the very clever thing about this machine is if you open the soap drawer, it will actually tell you which compartment to put the actual detergent in or the fluid in. And this is quite clever. It's nothing complicated, because if I lift this soap drawer out, all it has is a magnetic strip on the side there, and this will actually detect when the actual soap drawer is open. So if I open it, you can see here, it automatically will tell you which compartment to use. Now I'm using powder, so the flap needs to be up, and I'm putting some powder in. Shut the drawer, and we'll put this on start, and this will automatically detect the weight of the clothing in the machine and automatically adjust the program as needed. Now, there are 22 different programs on this machine, and I'm going to be testing these a lot over the next couple of days for you. I'm not only just going to be testing the machine and turning it on, I'm actually going to make sure I'm in here all the time to actually see what the wash function is like, what the noise level is like on the machine, and also to have a look at how well it actually performs. There'll be multiple different tests that I do over the next couple of days, and the way that I'm going to record it is I'm just going to take snippets as I see fit to show you different noise levels when it's on spin with a heavy load. I'm also going to be washing duvets, sleeping bags and other things like that. So do bear with me with this. We'll let this machine go through the cycle and I'll add important bits to the video as we go through. Okay, I'm in front of the machine at the moment. It's been running approximately 1 hour 20 minutes and the machine is exceedingly quiet, and I've got the microphone right next to this machine so you can hear the noise. The recirculation pump is running, which is pushing water down on top of the clothing, which makes it wash much more efficiently. But so far everything seems brilliant. Okay, I'm in front of the machine at the moment and it's on its final spin. It's got 6 minutes to run. It's most probably spinning at the moment somewhere in the region of 1,000 to 1,200 RPM, and it is going to increase to 1,600 RPM. It is louder than the conventional washing machine, but this is because there is no insulation in here at all. And it seems to create an acoustic type noise because of this cavity. But you can see I've got the microphone here and I'm right in front of the machine. I'm perfectly happy with it, but there are people who are going to say this machine is louder than the conventional one. Okay, I've done a couple of loads on this machine over the last couple of days. I've used heavy soil, I've used whites, and I also used another cycle which I can't remember at the moment, but I have it written down. And I've been quite impressed with the way the clothing comes out dryness wise. I am happy with the wash. Well, matter of fact, I'm very happy with the wash. I love the functionality of the machine, although I don't like complicated machines. And I've said this on many occasions in the past, but I've been pleasantly surprised so far with what I've seen. The machine is noisier than a conventional machine on spin. That is the only downside I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, the next program I'm going to use is a small duvet that I want to wash, and I'm going to put this on the auto dosing system because I've just put some detergent into both of the compartments on A and B. You'll be able to find all this information in the manual. This duvet is oversized for the machine really. And here we have 60. Well, I'm going to change the temperature to 90, and we've got the auto dosing system enabled. If I just press that, you can see that you've got the soil level and the auto dose assistant, and you can set the actual amount of detergent that goes into the machine. I'm going to press back and I'm going to press start, and we're going to go and see how the machine copes with this type of load. Okay, the heating system has just cut in, and as you can see on the display here, when the drum's not turning, it was pulling 2,200 watts of power, and when the drum's turning, it's pulling 2,240 watts of power. I would anticipate that the heating element in this machine is approximately 2,150 watts of power, and I would say it's going to take about 30 minutes to get up to the 90-degree temperature. Okay, the machine's been running approximately an hour, and you can hear the water getting to temperature because it's like a kettle as it starts to boil. Now, it's coping with the load very well on the wash cycle, but what is going to be interesting is not only how it copes with this load as it goes into rinse and spin, but also how much vibration is actually on the cabinet when this happens. Okay, the machine's on the second rinse at the moment, and I'm filming this a lot for the simple reason this is a very difficult thing to wash, and especially when it comes to the rinse and spin cycles. This is normally where a machine shakes a lot because it is very difficult to actually distribute this duvet evenly around the machine so it spins correctly. And we'll see what actually happens here now. I might have to speed it up slightly just so we're not wasting too much time. It's balanced the load. It's now going into spin. It's doing a very good job with a very difficult load. It will do this 3 or 4 times, and then it will most probably, we have 50 minutes left on the cycle, so it'll most probably do 2 or 3 more rinses before it comes to the final spin. And I'll actually turn the camera back on in a minute once we get to the last 10 minutes of the cycle when it kicks into spin. Okay, as you can see, we're coming down to 7 minutes left on the cycle. The machine is most probably spinning at the moment somewhere around about the 1400 RPM. It might go up a little bit more while I'm talking, but if I put my fingers on this side of the machine here, it's hardly shaking at all. Now yes, it is a little bit noisier than the conventional washing machine, and also you must remember I've got it up on my workbench. This means that we're getting the noise from underneath the machine, where normally a concrete floor or a wooden floor would be absorbing that sound. But the microphone's here, and if I bring it to the front of the machine, and I'll just lower my voice so you can hear, but I'm very pleased with it, and really there's no excessive noise. There is a little bit of acoustic noise coming from this area, but that is only because of the design. I've got some good news for you as well. One of my suppliers just got me an exploded diagram of this machine, and I can tell you now there is some insulation in this area and also on the sides of the machine as well. But when we take it all apart, then we'll have a look inside the machine to see how well it's built. Okay, let's have a look in the back of the machine. Now, I will be doing more detailed videos on this, and I can also tell you that I've been given an exploded diagram of this machine so we can have a look at all the components within it. Now what I do like is all the screws are threaded screws, not self-tappers. This means that you'll be able to take the machine apart and put it back together for quite a long period of time. Okay, I've taken the back of the machine off. I've also taken the lid off and had a good look around the machine. A colleague in the industry managed to get me the exploded diagram of the machine, and I've also got a comprehensive list of all the parts, and I have actually put the retail prices of some of the components because I wanted you to have an understanding of what the components cost. We'll go through that in a minute. Let me just quickly run through everything. At the front of the machine, you have the unique door system that stops any small items of clothing or coinage going into the drum. That's the positive. Then we have counterweights on the front of the machine, which are cast iron, not concrete, not plastic, cast iron. On the back here, we have a bearing support system, which is also cast iron. The outer drum of the machine is stainless steel. When we come down to the base of the machine, it's got a solid base at the bottom and 4 suspension legs that control the suspension system, with 2 small springs at the top to stop the drum going backwards and forwards too much. Everything about it is good, and I am really pleased with the neatness of the cable ties when it comes to pipes and also the wiring. There has been a lot of thought put into this, and there's a lot of questions that have been coming in from the previous 2 videos that I've done, asking me questions about the machine and also leaving comments about the machine, and I'm going to address these in this video as well. First, I would like to go through the individual components on the machine and do comparisons to what other manufacturers are charging for these components. Now, when it comes to this machine, on some of the items, I am highly impressed with the pricing. On other items, I think they're a little expensive, but we'll address these one by one. Okay, I've come around the front of the machine to start, and I've actually filming in this confined space because I'm not lifting this machine again, it's too blooming heavy. One of the customers on YouTube said they had a problem with the door glass and it shattered. The only reason I think the door glass may have shattered is you may have been washing something like a denim jacket, something with metal buttons or something like that, and it may have jammed between the glass and the actual drum when it was spinning. That is a possibility, but I haven't heard of too many problems with this. The door seal is just this band that you can see here, and it's only £20. When you consider on a low-end machine, a normal door seal for a washing machine would be £25, and on the high-end machines, I have seen them as expensive as £100. When it comes to the door lock, Yes, the door lock is expensive for what it is. It's £55, but it's a very robust door lock. And I imagine there may be an alternative coming onto the market at a later stage. While I'm here, just listen to the sound of this drum. That is a solid drum. And really speaking, I would say that is commercial standard. I also had another question from a customer, basically saying that these machines were getting rust problems on the older machines around the soap drawer area. Now, they do, on some models of machine, have a steam function. And I imagine if you leave the drawer shut and don't maintain the machine and dry it off after each wash, if you're doing a boil program or a steam program, corrosion could take place. It could be improved as well by the manufacturer. Okay, while I'm at the front of the machine, let's just quickly look at the pump system. Now, the pump system is a very clever little design. It's not cheap, it's £68, but that's the pump, the housing and the filter. But there is only one pump motor on the machine. Remember, this machine has got a recirculation pump system, but it only uses the one motor. And the way it achieves this is it has a diversion valve. So the pump motor runs, but a diversion valve stops the water going out of the machine and diverts that water to the inside of the machine. And we'll go up on top to have a look at it. Okay, if you look closely here, you've actually got the diversion valve. Now, the waste pipe from the pump comes all the way to here. When the diversion valve is activated, in other words, when the actual machine is recycling the water back into the machine, it goes down this pipework and then goes on top of the clothing, which is a very clever system. The diversion valve is approximately £45. Not too expensive really, and a very clever bit of technology. Next to the recirculation diversion valve is actually the water valve. And on some models there are two water valves, one for the hot water, one for the cold water. I have to do some research on this because I couldn't actually find the part. But the water valve on this machine is part number 829014, and the water valve is a three-way valve, meaning it has three solenoids, and that is £48. It's a little bit expensive, but I do imagine there will be alternatives available for this, meaning compatible parts which are cheaper. Okay, the main motor on this machine is a Nordic motor. It's an 1800 RPM. Although this machine is a 1600 machine, I imagine this motor is fitted to the higher end models that are 1800 spin. The actual genuine part number for this motor is 535100. Now, this is quite surprising. This motor is only £120 new. Now, that sounds a lot of money, but when you compare it to other manufacturers, and let me give you some examples here because I wrote this on my notes. A Samsung or LG motor will normally cost new somewhere around £170 to £180 mark. A Bosch motor could cost you in excess of £250 to £300, and a Miele motor, I have seen them as high as £300 or £400 for the main motor. So this is surprisingly cheap. Okay, moving down to the bottom of the machine, and what I do like, by the way, is the new legislation that's coming out actually makes manufacturers put the genuine part numbers now on the individual components, and you'll see labels on all the machines. Now, the shock absorbers have their part number written on them, and this one is a 794425, and this shock absorber is £30. There's 4 of them on this machine with the 2 springs at the top as well to stop the machine going backwards and forwards. Okay, down at the bottom of the machine here, you have the ADS system. This is the tank on this side. There's 2 level switches, which are for each compartment at the back here, and there's 2 pumps at the front. Let me go through the level sensors first. The level sensors are to detect how much fluid is in the tanks. There are 2 of these for the tank A and B, and at the top of the machine you also have a water level sensor which measures the amount of water in the drum. And at the front you've got the 2 pumps that actually control the auto dosing system, and these are quite expensive. These are £85 each, and I'll talk all about the auto dosing system at the end of the video. We also have the main program here as well. This is the main circuit board, and this this is an expensive item. This comes with the control panel, and I believe that is £250. But I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. There's a separate circuit board that controls the ADS system at the top of the machine, and I'll bring the picture up here so you can see. And this also, if I can find this on my sheet, is about £80 for the auto dosing circuit board that controls all this. Okay, the last things to go through down here are the hoses on the machine. They are all very affordable, and I've got no problems with any of the pricing. I won't list them all because we could be here all day. But when it comes to the heating system, the heating element, the original heating element, is a 2000 watt element, and that is £55. But I've already found an alternative, meaning a pattern part, and that is only £25. The NTC sensor, which is the sensor that measures the temperature in the drum, that is only £15, and now we'll go up to the top of the machine. Okay, I've put the washing machine on test and I've put a blanket in it. I think I've got set it to a quick wash, which is about an hour cycle. It's already been running 10 minutes while I get the camera and everything set up. I wanted to use this point to address some of the questions that are coming in. I did 2 previous short videos which I've got hundreds of questions on, and some people praising the machine, some people just leaving comments inquiring about the prices and why they're so cheap in the UK compared to Europe, and other people saying about problems that they are aware of with the machine. I've already addressed a couple at the front of the machine, but I wanted to address a couple that came in. First one was from a customer, and it's quite hard to pronounce his name, but he has basically said that the machine, I'll read it to you. The superficial build quality of this ASKO seems to be very good. The mid-range models upwards even have a metal fascia on the soap drawer, which you've seen at the front. However, he then goes to say that there are fundamental problems with the motor housing not aligning properly, and the machines themselves metal rust and leaks and vibrations. Well, I've already dealt with the metal rust at the front, which is usually down to poor maintenance, but I want to go through this motor alignment. This actual system is a very old system, and it's a really good system. They used to use this on machines in the 70s and 80s. And this is the motor is attached to the bottom of the drum with 2 long bolts that go onto 2 brackets. One bracket is at the back here, one bracket is further down the machine at the front. These bolts go through, and then they have nuts on the other end. This bolt here, for example, is a tensioning bolt which allows you to put tension onto the belt. This then is able to put the correct tension onto the pulley wheel. I can't see a problem with the motor alignment. I'd love to know what model of machine that you were talking about that had this problem, because in my opinion this is a great construction. Now, when it comes to leaks on the machine, I think any machine can really get a leak. I think one of the problems that people may be having is they're not doing enough maintenance on the machine, especially making sure that the door seal is kept clean so it actually bonds against the panel. When it comes to looking at the bottom of the machine, I do agree it's slightly overcomplicated when it comes to the ADS auto dosing system. You've got umpteen pumps here, a housing tank, and also some pressure switches that measure the levels. You've also got additional pipe work all through the machine. I would love to see ASKO build a machine without the auto dosing system, therefore reducing the price slightly to make it a better machine in the long term, because in my honest opinion, I'm a firm believer the less gizmos you have on a machine, the more reliable it will be. And also it would make the programming of the machine much simpler. Okay, a lot of people have sent the question in, and it's a repeated question. Who the hell are ASKO? Well, ASKO is an appliance manufacturer that is really only known for the high-end products, meaning the quality. I originally know them for pumps, because a lot of ASKO pumps are in a lot of different appliances. Let me give you a brief rundown on the company. They were established in 1950. They're a Scandinavian company. They build brilliant dishwashers as well as washing machines. I love their company slogan, more steel, less plastic. And I really am a firm believer of that. Carl Eric Anderson originally built a washing machine in 1950 for his mother, and he wanted to build something for her. I don't know how true this story is, but that's the story that's behind the company. They were then taken over by Garenia, and now they are owned predominantly, I believe, by Hisense, and that's a Chinese company. Let's hope this company continues making high-end material and doesn't go down the route of so many other Chinese manufacturers. Now, talking about Chinese brings me back to the programming, and a lot of you have been mentioning about the programming on these machines. The first thing I have to say is I contacted ASKO and they were not willing to give me any technical information on the machine, so I had to use other sources. I always do. So anyway, I managed to get exploded diagrams of the machine, and I've also got some relevant programming, which I will be doing in another video. And more information is coming to me all the time. But when I took the lid off and took the back off, I didn't actually look, as I normally would, for a wiring diagram on things like a Miele, say. And hidden at the top here is a piece of paper. Now, it isn't covered in plastic, but I was pleasantly surprised. And I think ASKO have copied Miele here. And they have included the wiring diagram, which includes the main circuit board and also the ADS system. And they've also got it going to all the relevant components, so you know the wiring configuration. There is also some other information here with regards entering test mode and service mode on the machine, which I'll be doing another video on. But these machines are slightly overcomplicated, and I think the program is overpriced as well. When you consider Chinese is one of the biggest manufacturers of the world of circuit boards, and on these circuit boards are only resistors, diodes, memory chips and relays, a circuit board build cost is most probably less than £30. Yes, I do realise that manufacturers have to go into all the R&D, research and development, in actually programming the machines and everything else. But why build such a great cabinet with such a great machine and then go and do something like put a £250 circuit board on the machine? Because this is actually building obsolescence into machines. This machine, in my opinion, if the circuit board was affordable, could be kept going for at least 20 years if well maintained. And, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to stand by my roots. Less complicated, easier programming and more simplistic will create you a better loyal customer bank in the future. Okay, the last question I'm going to deal with is about vibration on the machine, and I've waited through to the machine comes to the spin. This is a Komolo magnetic phone holder, and that's an iPhone 15. I'm just going to put that on there while it does a spin, and I explain the balancing system on this machine. This machine runs on 4 shock absorbers, and it's got a very good programming system when it comes to making sure that the distribution of weight around the machine is even before it kicks into spin. The only time that you would ever have a problem is if the machine hadn't emptied the water in the adequate period of time, which could be down to blockages in the filter. And also the previous gentleman that asked the question with regards motor alignment. If you look here, this is all working perfectly while it builds up to a high spin speed. I didn't either mention the belt on this machine as well, which is a 1 meter 225 millimeter belt, and it's a J5. This means that the normal price on this belt is £30, but the alternative belts are available at £13, so they're very cheap as well. But as you can see, the machine isn't even braced properly because the back panel and lid is off the machine. And I trust my phone, and that says enough for me. You've actually been watching this video now 30 minutes, and I'm going to give you my final verdict on the machine. I personally love the machine. I think it's very well built, very well designed, and I love the door system. There are flaws with the machine I'm not happy with, and maybe I'm being petty. I don't like the auto dosing system. I like machines to be kept basic. At the end of the day, is it needed? And I don't think it is. I love the idea of the programming when it comes to the start of the machine and opening the soap drawer, and it tells you which compartment to put the detergent in. I think that's brilliant. When it comes to the programming, it's slightly complicated. It has 22 washes and you can actually pre-program 4 washes for your own personal use. And I don't think that is needed. I think 10 to 15 programs would be suffice. Now, when talking about the programming, I think also the PCB board is very expensive for what it is. It could be made cheaper. As I said earlier in the video, manufacturers can make these boards for less than £30. But when you compare it to other manufacturers, they are about the same price. A low-end machine may have a program that only costs £130, £140. An LG or Samsung program is about £170, £180. A Siemens, a Bosch, a Miele can exceed £300. They're only charging £250, but I still think it's expensive, and I think the manufacturer could benefit in the long term by having a cheaper component like the circuit board, because when you build such good quality, why build in obsolescence into the machine by having a very expensive circuit board? People would keep this machine going for 15 to 20 years, and you would build a good reputation for it by doing that, especially in today's market. Things I love about the machine. I love the door. I'm sorry, it's noisier. Yes, I've heard it on spin, and it's most probably 10% noisier than other machines. But the fact that small items of clothing can't get lodged in between the inner and outer drum because of this design is great. And it stops all things like coins or other items that you leave in the pocket damaging the machine and getting into the drum. I love the recirculation system. It only uses one motor with the diverting valve, and this allows the machine to put a high volume of water on top of the clothing while it's washing, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. When it comes to the machine itself, please don't just take my word for it. Read the comments on the previous 2 videos and also have a look at the comments on this video and ask questions. I'm sure, not just myself, there are other people that would be happy to answer the questions about their machines. But do beware of the trolls. AI is creating a lot of problems with comments nowadays, coming up with possibly even manufacturers defending their brand on negative videos about their brand and then leaving comments saying how good their machines are. So do be careful of that. Spare parts for this machine, we will be carrying all the spares for all ASKO machines on the website. So do support the website whenever you do need any spares and buy them from us. What else can I say about this machine? I love the construction, stainless steel outer drum, cast iron supports and counterweights. I think it's all quality. And let me just quickly go into this promotion that's going on. Normal price on this machine is £1,150. Certain companies in the UK at the moment have got a special offer running on these machines, and this machine is £450, which is a blooming bargain. I can't emphasize that enough. If I wasn't doing videos, I would buy this machine instantaneous at anything from £450, and I would go as high as £1,000. I think it's a great machine. £1,150, but it's got the auto dosing system. It's your choice at the end of the day. It is a quality machine, and it does compare to a Miele machine. And just read the comments, as I said. Anyway, it comes with a full 5-year parts and labour guarantee, and that includes the call out, but you do need to fill the guarantee before 90 days. That's all I can say about the machine. I think it's an absolute brilliant workhorse. Thanks very much indeed for watching the video. Do remember to give the video a thumbs up. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comments, and please remember to support the website by subscribing to us or even buying us a beer, as sometimes I use the beer money on buying a high quality machine to make these videos for you. Thanks very much indeed for watching.